Hey, folks, happy Friday and welcome to the Freedom from the Press podcast. My name's Jason Robertson, and I'm here with my partner in crime,
Todd Peterson. Thanks for joining us today, folks. We have Tuesday election results. We have a Substack from our good friend and business partner, Will Tanner. Folks, you're not going to miss that on our Rumble only, getting in there in advance. And Jason, I can't even get through this because I am so excited to pop up our Rumble comments. We had Market Zero ready to go. We had Kagan Girl ready to go. We had Wrong Think. When I saw WTF, I was like, where is this going? But it's Wrong Think. We got Kagan Girl already back a second time here. We got Francis saying hola. We got Dee Dee in the chat. We got Fally in the chat. Jason, I'm just so excited to say good morning and welcome aboard to all of you folks.
Oh, my God. Todd and I talk about it, and I don't know if you guys understand how much we appreciate you taking time out of your Fridays. We say it's our favorite time of the week, and it really is. Todd and I, we work all week. We do digital marketing and content, and we're just exposed to all this politics. And then we get to Friday, and it's like downloading with our friends. Like for you guys, it's like we're all getting together at the coffee shop, shooting the breeze. We love the chats. We love the comments. We love when you guys bring things up for us to opine on. My favorite part, too, is when the comments engage with each other. It's like you guys are hanging out too on a Friday. So we love that. And do us a favor. Give us a like, give us a comment, give us a share. It helps the show get reach. And we want you to know you're not alone when you see this madness, this insanity, and we're going to help you break it all down.
Yeah, and then a special hello to Facebook. Jordan Steve, new name in the chat. Jordan, welcome aboard. Thanks for watching. Thanks for commenting.
Yeah, Todd, we got to talk about Tuesday, and we got to talk about the latest Democrat hoax. Where do we want to start? Do we start with the Democrat hoax?
I think we have to. What is it? It's a Friday. It's a day that ends in Y. There's a Democrat hoax running around there. There's a real story, and then there's how the Democrat Media Alliance presents that story, Jason.
Yeah, and one of the things, part of why we call our podcast Freedom from the Press, we think the press is the enemy of the people. And we've told these stories before, but I became so incensed with the Fine People hoax, the Russiagate hoax, and for me, drinking bleach was like the final straw. The media lies, they omit, and half the country forms their opinion based on this crap. If we were on Rumble only, I probably would have said the S word, but it's a little early to swear. But people don't know the news media intentionally lies, distorts the truth, and it is misinformation. And I'm sick of it. We almost need like a little intro music because it's like every week it's like, okay, here's the newest Democrat hoax. And I'm going to tell you, if you still have friends on social media that are on the left, if they haven't unfriended you because you're racist, bigot, homophobe, or whatever it is, you're going to see this cross their timeline. So we're going to give you the information on what's really happened.
This video captured the moment ICE agents dragged a pre-K teacher out of a daycare center on Chicago's north side. She can be seen pleading with the agents as she's pushed up against a waiting sedan. At one point, she shouts in Spanish, "I have papers."
ICE agents followed a teacher into the facility without a warrant and abducted her in front of her students. This woman is a trusted, loved member of her community with a work permit.
Officials identified the woman as Diana Galliano, a Colombian national in the country since 2023 and seeking asylum. Children, teachers, and parents inside at the time of the arrest said they were traumatized by what they saw.
What has happened today is domestic terrorism, and it is absurd and horrific that they have now targeted our daycare centers.
Until recently, sensitive areas like schools and hospitals were generally off limits to immigration enforcement. That changed under the second Trump administration. Today's incident, the latest in a string of controversial arrests that have been happening across Chicago as part of the Trump administration's immigration crackdown.
In a statement to CBS News, the Department of Homeland Security denied targeting the daycare center and said Galliano sped away from ICE agents in a car and then fled on foot into the daycare center where she was arrested.
Jason, that's an interesting factoid. They just kind of sneak in at the end there, isn't it?
I was going to say they start this. You create this imagery of ICE in like stormtrooper uniforms with the Star Wars music behind them. Dun, 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 marching in to apprehend the poor woman that is just at a daycare center. Oh my God. And I guarantee you, folks, your Democrat friends, if you have any on social media, are going to take this and run with this 3 months from now. You are going to hear that, oh my God, I can't believe they're raiding daycare centers. Todd, horrible, evil. Like, this is the empire. These are the fascists we warned you about, right, Todd?
They traumatized all the kids and the teachers, Jason. It was awful. They just stormed in the building and pulled a teacher out of the building that was instructing kids, right? Right?
Oh my God. Yeah. Aren't you getting all this imagery in your head? And then I love how they layer in the clips of the people being detained by ICE kind of roughly, and they're cutting out the part where the guy throws things at him or spits at him or obstructs or hops in front of their
car. Or crossed the border illegally at one point.
Insane. And I love the chat today. Facebook is popping. Like, you were pulling up some of the comments. And I got to call out Tammy, though. Sad day in America. November 4th go down as day freedom died. I don't understand why isn't anyone doing anything about it. That's going to be our next topic after we do the hoax. At what point's enough? Why do we sit by with these Muslim agitators from violence against society? Say no. We're with you. We'll get to that next.
Okay, Jason, I feel like, all right, so that's how your Democrats are. They're getting lied to. You know that they're lying if there's a newscast. Should we go to the real truth of this post?
Maybe we should.
Let's go to the source. All right, folks. This is from DHS itself here. And it's a direct comment, actually. You can see how they're quote tweeting where we got a news article from the Washington Post about how armed ICE officers arrested a teacher in Chicago. They chased her into the school. They grabbed her in front of parents and students, and they traumatized them forever here. I love the Trump admin because not only does Donald Trump troll the left in these media outlets, every single account, every single cabinet member, JD Vance is on fire when he does this. They just called him out. Homeland Security, whoever runs this account, give him a raise. How do you people sleep at night after lying all day to the American people like this? They write, ICE law enforcement did not target a daycare and were only at this location because the female illegal alien fled inside. That's kind of a big point right there. They went to the daycare because she went to the daycare. Here's the real story. Officers attempted to conduct a targeted traffic stop, not a daycare stop, of this female illegal alien from Colombia. Officers attempted to pull over the vehicle, which was registered to a female illegal alien. Isn't it fascinating that you can be an illegal and register a car and not have to worry about it in Illinois, having that, the sirens go off? With sirens and emergency lights, but the male driver refused to pull the vehicle over.
Wait.
Whoa.
There's a male driver in the car? Oh, this must be interesting.
Oh, I wonder why he didn't pull over. Law enforcement pursued the vehicle before the assailant sped into a shopping plaza where he and the female passenger fled. They ran into a daycare and attempted to barricade themselves inside the daycare. And listen to this, folks, recklessly endangering the children inside. Hold on a second. You mean to tell me that it's not ICE traumatizing the kids? It's these illegal aliens that chose to hide behind kids, much like Hamas likes to hide in schools and hospitals. And somehow ICE is the bad guy here. The illegal alien female was arrested inside a vestibule, not in the school. Upon arrest, she lied about her identity. Imagine that. The vehicle is registered to her in her name, though she claims that she didn't know the man who was driving her car and just picked him up from a bus stop. Raise your hand in the chat if you believe that. Facts, including criminality and information on the male assailant, are forthcoming, and we will update the public with more information as soon as it becomes available. What a fascinating read, Jason.
So just to unpack this, you have an illegal alien from, where was she from again? Colombia? Yeah, Colombia. And Mark, shout out to Mark. The latest information is her papers were several years expired. I cannot confirm nor deny the veracity of that claim. Democrats are claiming she was here legally. But let's take her word and the Democrats' word. Let's say she was here legally, okay? So the ICE goes to do a traffic stop. She doesn't stop. They speed away. Who knows how dangerous they were driving. They stop in a shopping center. They run into a daycare, which from what I'm understanding of this story, Todd, she was completely unaffiliated with.
You know what? There seems to be no mention of her having worked there or working there. It seems like they just chose to hide there, Jason.
So let me get this straight. The illegal alien flees law enforcement, runs into a daycare center, not where her kids are or her place of employment or anything like that. And then they have to go in and get her. And then ironically, the person who is driving, she says, I don't know who it is. I just picked him up at the bus stop. Now, when you looked at that video the first time, did that convey any of these facts? Do you want an illegal alien? And let's even say she was here legally. Do you want somebody fleeing police with some driver they just picked up at the bus stop and then running to hide in a daycare center? And the criminal, the people who you're against, is ICE? I am incensed by this reporting. And let us know next week. I've seen it on a few of my liberals' timelines, like, oh my God, they're raiding daycare centers. And Todd, you made an important distinction. You said this is what Hamas does. Do you want to explain that?
Well, Hamas famously, I think I shared the meme in our group chat. The Babylon Bee folks also did a headline on this. Hamas will hide in the Gaza Strip. They will build headquarters. They will put rocket systems right in a school, right in the basement of a hospital. They will use civilian locations that they intend to have casualties simply to promote their own propaganda against Israel. And Jason, this is not to get into Israel, our support of them, what has happened in Gaza, just simply pointing out that Hamas hides behind children and women. And when Israel has no choice but to destroy certain infrastructure belonging to Hamas, there are casualties that Hamas knew would happen and wanted simply to, again, promote their own agenda here. So you got this gal running into a school. She just wanted to hide somewhere, but it plays really well for their narrative of busting schools and traumatizing kids. And I got to say this, Jason, if this were any other school in any other situation, doesn't the left always scream about how our kids are not safe in America because we have access to firearms and this and that? And now suddenly here you have an illegal alien criminal who flees into a school, uses it as refuge, and the Dems, rather than get upset about the possible risk to student life, who was this woman that was running to the school? What were her intentions? They're like, no, this is totally okay. Go into that school. Don't do an ID check. You don't belong here. That's fine. We're going to hide you. Jason, I think this entire school needs to be investigated, though. I would imagine, we saw the school, it was Raitas del Sol. It was a Spanish immersion program. She's probably running in speaking Spanish. La Migra's coming to get me. And they're all like, lady, you can stay. You can hide. We will shelter you. Anybody affiliated with this school that helped this woman flee, send them packing too, or arrest them at the very least.
We talk a lot about, too, how things are getting to a very scary point in America. And this is kind of just one of those other tips of the iceberg. So you have an entire community who think, like, Donald Trump won he won the popular vote. He won in a landslide, right? And everybody knew he was going to deport illegals. And he was talking about going after criminals first, but he wanted all the illegals gone. Todd and I, for the record, most of our audience, we want all the illegals gone. Go home, come in the right way, let's determine that you're going to be a net asset to America. Let's determine you're going to speak English. Let's determine you're going to adhere to our social, cultural norms, all the things. And now you have this entire community and white liberals who are like, we just aren't going to follow the rule of law. We are going to target law enforcement. We are going to go after the people enforcing immigration law, not the horrible person who is driving around with somebody who we know nothing about. She claims she was just picked up at the bus stop, which is a lie. And then I'm going to flee into children, into a daycare. You are a horrible person. If she was not supposed to be being deported already, that alone is enough to make me want to deport her.
And isn't this fascinating, Jason? So we talk about how it was the male that was doing the driving. I'm just trying to figure out the chronology of how this happens here. Male driver. But then down below, she says the man who was driving the car, she picked him up. How many times, Jason, have you picked up a stranger and said, you take the wheel now, my guy. You drive my car. I don't know you. I don't know what's going to happen, but I want you to drive. Has that ever happened before? Does her story even make sense in that short blurb from DHS?
It's insane. And let's imagine that newscaster goes, hey, there was a shocking incident at a daycare. an illegal immigrant fled ICE, and there was an unknown assailant driving the car. She claimed she just picked him up at the bus stop, and the woman went to go hide in the daycare, forcing law enforcement to go in and bring her out. That would have been an honest accounting of what happened. Who knows if the left would if that would resonate with anybody, but that's what happened. And that's this story, the way they framed it, is going to make people more targeting of ICE, more radicalized. That's why the media is the enemy of the people. They didn't even talk about the car was being driven by a guy she claimed she just picked up at the bus stop. How does that not make the news report? Because they're sharing propaganda.
Yeah. I do want to fact check you, though, Jason. You talked earlier about deporting all the illegal aliens. Just for the record, I want all of them deported, and I don't want any of them to come back. I am in the position now, Jason, where I want a moratorium on all immigration to the United States. I don't want to screen them or vet them. Do you want to be part of this experiment? Do you share our values? I don't even care anymore. They could be the best American on paper, but they're an immigrant, and I don't want them here anymore. So I just got to set the record straight on my position on immigration. Deport the ones that are here and prevent everyone from coming here.
Yeah, and if you're a foreign-born person, you should follow the presidency rules. You shouldn't be serving in Congress. You shouldn't be serving in the judiciary. Sorry, if that's how we treat the president, that's how we should treat all of our federal officers. I think we should also look at, anybody who doesn't love America. We need to send them home. I don't care even if they're a naturalized citizen. Why on earth would we naturalize somebody who, like Mondami, the first picture, he was a social media influencer when he came here, and we should probably transition to New York because that was the most abhorrent election. The first picture he shared on social media upon arriving to America was a picture of him flipping the bird at Christopher Columbus's statue. At that point, I should have went up, they should have grabbed him, and they should have said, go home. Like, you clearly don't love America. You don't like what we stand for. You want to radically change and destroy our country. Go home. You like Uganda. You want to bring Ugandan politics here. Go home. We don't need to let people in the country that don't love the country and don't want to be part of this wonderful American experiment we have.
100%, Jason. And as we saw with Mamdani's election, we have some other elections to cover as well. The turnout for these immigrant candidates, they won the election because of immigrant voters. Do we not see a basic fundamental problem with this? The more immigrants into the country, the more immigrants will be elected to office. And once in office, do you think they say, gosh, thank you, America. I value the Constitution. I want to look out for the heritage Americans in this country. Or do they say, how can I help my people? Because all these immigrants, if they're brown, black, yellow, whatever the case may be, they identify first as that group, their ethnicity, the country that they came from, never as an American. So yes, Jason, ban on all immigrants holding office, ban on them voting, ban on them from even getting here anymore.
Yeah, and it's just fascinating that this is a complex thought for people on the left. In no other point of life would you ever invite people in to your place of business, to your home, to your cookout, who hated everything you stood for, and then continue to participate with them. Like, if you run a company, are you going to hire some dude who's like, you know what? I run a pizza place, and I'm going to hire a guy that hates pizza? Like, you would never do that. That would be idiotic. But yet we think that we can bring these people into the country who don't want to be American. They want to change America to their homeland. Oh, God, it's so frustrating.
Yeah. So, and I'm equally frustrated with voters, Jason. I've gone on these rants a lot. Voting is too easy here. But you have voters in New York City. And folks, we didn't pull a clip of Mondani speaking here. It's all the same nonsense. It's just straight up lies here. It's not worth our time to cover it. But everything he promises, free this, free that, we're a wealthy nation, we'll just take more money from the rich people here, and we'll give you daycare, healthcare, we'll give you free busing and train rides, and we'll give you free everything. And I'm just shaking my head at the state of the American electorate when we really have to think, is this going to work? And they don't care. They're just like, well, someone else will pay for it. It's free for me. Socialism has never worked. It will never work. The incentives do not exist. The money runs out here. I can't believe we're having this discussion in 2025. Like, gosh, are we going to do socialism right this time? Such a sad state of affairs here. That's my number one reflection on all the elections this past Tuesday, is that people don't get it, and I fear will never get it. It never ends well when you go down this route, and I can't believe we have to explain that.
Well, yeah, and we should probably get into some of the clips, but as we do it, I want to talk about a little covered Colorado bill that passed. And I don't have a graphic for it, folks, so I apologize for that. I tweeted about it earlier, but Colorado passed a law where they were going to tax additionally high income earners to pay for school lunch for kids. And there it is. Voters approve an increase on high earners to fund school meals, food stamps. Shout out to Todd. We hadn't even talked about this story.
The producer's back, Jason. Give the producer a raise finally.
God, we're going to give him a raise. Give him a super chat, guys. Give Todd a buck or two in the old super chat. Let's do this. Give him a star on their Facebook. But so this one, they talk about framing up, we're going after the billionaires. Can you believe Elon Musk? We need to target him. The people this law affects are people that make a combined household income of $300,000. Now, I know not many people make $300,000 in a household, but a husband and wife, if they're both working, make $150,000. A single earner, the district manager at Walmart, just to put in perspective, makes $300,000 a year. I know that's kind of a shocking number, but so the guy at Walmart, if you are in a Walmart store, there's probably 5-10% of the people in there in a Target that make $300,000 a year. It is not like private jet money. $300,000 a year really isn't even like retire early money. You know what I mean? You're doing well. You're like above average. You're upper middle class. That's who they target. So all this crap about tax the billionaires, tax cuts for the billionaires, it is not. It is going after people that are just doing better than you. And when you don't get enough money out of the guy making $300,000 a year, and that's a couple making $300,000, next it's going to be $200,000. Then after that, it's going to be $100,000 until they're going to tax the snot out of everybody if you don't allocate resources to, and these aren't people, like we have some disabled people that watch the show, they can't work, they have like legitimately disabled, like that's not who we're talking about. But you see all the folks that could work, that choose not to, that aren't the ones going in early, staying late, working overtime at your job. They want to equal that. They're doing this financial targeting of people, and it's just coming down. Colorado, when they started all this nonsense 15 years ago, we're going to go after millionaires. Now they're going after people making $300,000 a year. It's only a matter of time till it gets down. It's crazy.
And just to put that in perspective, Jason, so I did a little Google here. So 16% of Colorado households have a reported income of over $200,000. I would imagine that figure drops pretty sharply to get up to $300,000. So again, democracy now functions in America where 95% of Americans can vote against the interests of the wealthy, and the wealthy are screwed. They have no recourse to push back here. 90% of Coloradans that don't make $300,000 simply do not care what that tax threshold becomes. They're not affected by it. Yeah, it sounds great to take someone else's money. Look at me, I'm such a good person. I voted for all these programs. Kids will be fed. Families will get their SNAP benefits here. I am such a moral person. I don't have to contribute a penny to this, but I can feel good about myself because someone else will pay for it, and they can afford it because they make $300,000 here. Never mind the fact that if they're doctors, they have insane student loans. No one ever talks about that. They made a sacrifice, their own financial sacrifice. My wife, Jason, the amount of debt she graduated with, it's insane, but she's a high earner on paper here. So sure, you can take money off of the table here. You can make us take longer to pay off our loans just so that kids can have free school lunches. And where I live, Jason, I had to vote early here. We were out at town on Tuesday on election day. My hometown just passed another school levy. I could rant for an hour just on school levies here. They are raising our property taxes because we need to support the kids. We need to pay more teachers. We need to get more technology in the hands of students in the classrooms here. It's absurd. It is absolutely absurd that you can vote to steal other people's money like this and then make me the bad guy. You don't like kids? You don't want your property taxes to go up $20 a month? No, I absolutely do not here. I'm over it, Jason. I am over democracy. If this is what democracy looks like, I'm out.
Well, and what's funny too, and for those who are new to the podcast, may not know, Todd spent a long time in education, so Todd can fact check me here if I get it wrong. Many of those expenses where Todd lives, where I live, are skyrocketing because we're bringing in illegal immigrants and they don't speak English. And in some case, like if they're Somali, which we're both from Minnesota, there's a lot of Somalis, you can't even have them in the same room. Like if they're from two different Somali tribes, you need to separate them. So you are creating all these services for people that don't speak English, that don't understand our culture, that don't know how to read, that don't know. So we're not even screening, like, can these people be functional in society before we let them in? And then we are paying not even to make them functional, but to teach in Spanish or teach in Somali or teach in whatever, causing people like Todd and me and you guys to pay more taxes, our kids to get a less quality education for that because they think it's okay to have to hit one for English. Drives me nuts.
Yeah, and even in the best case scenario here, if I had to pay a little more in property taxes every month so that the students in my hometown could be the best and the brightest, and the education system was working wonders here, and we dragged kids out of poverty, and we taught the kids that didn't have any moms and dads reading to them at home, even in that best case scenario where the system wasn't indoctrinating them into communism, to gay race communism, I'd still be opposed. But then you look around and you say, didn't we just give you a levy 2 years ago? Didn't we already give you $5 million more to buy new laptops and iPads and fund that other teacher salary and cost of living wages that the union negotiated, this public sector union that negotiates against the public here to steal your money? There's no amount of money that will ever fix education, Jason. And I'm just looking around at people saying, like, how is this going to help other than make me poor? At the end of the day, it is just designed to make you poor.
Yeah. And actually, I'm sorry, folks. We'll get to New York's election, but some of these conversations, we just get a little sidetracked, and I hope you find it interesting. And Todd can speak on this because he worked in a school district that had Somalians. So to understand what we're talking about in Somalians, and we talked about how there was a Somali running for mayor in Minneapolis. And Todd, do you want to, you just saw this tech. We're doing this real time, folks. Man. Boom. Shout out to Todd.
All right, let me read the text here. Well, let me give you a background. So when I was in St. Cloud, Minnesota, school administrator, I worked at a school that was 95% Somali student population. That was on the east side of town. I did a little professional development over on the west side of town one day, and it's also a 95% Somali school. And as I was talking to people, I can't believe they even admitted this, but some of the older folks in the community that have been there a long time and saw all this resettlement happen in real time, they said, on the west side, you have this one clan, these tribes, and on the other side of town, they had to resettle the clans over there because it turns out those people hate each other. And we brought in this tribal hatred to St. Cloud, Minnesota. You drop in all the Somalis here and you segregate them because they're going to start fighting one another. They're going to start screaming at each other. The kids will just be fighting each other in the schools. They hate each other. They are very tribal, and we just brought that in because, stupid white Americans on the Democrat side were like, they're Somali. They're all the same. It turns out they're not the same. And so now we had Omar Fatah, who I think, Jason, you and I didn't take this into account here. I actually thought he would win because I have zero hope for the voters out there. But we had a Muslim Somali candidate for Minneapolis mayor, and he got defeated. And it turns out he got defeated because all of the Somalis that are not in his clan refused to support him, which is incredible. So a significant number of Somalis in Minneapolis didn't vote for ethnic Somali mayoral candidate Omar Fatah due to Fatah being part of the Darude clan rather than the Hawaii clan. These deep-seated clan wars allowed Mayor Jacob Frey to rally key community leaders from the Hawaii clan to hold off a challenge from Fatah. This is just delicious.
Representative Ilhan Omar, who endorsed Fatah and is part of the Daewoo clan, is reportedly the next target of the Hawaii community, who are emboldened by their proxy victory. Oh my God. Scroll down too. There's a picture of the map. So if you go in Somalia, and this is their country, and we've talked about Somalia, how bad it is, all those little colored areas are deep ethnic groups that hate each other, that kill each other, which is why people are refugees. So when one clan gets stronger than the other clan, they go kill them. And they're all radical Muslims. So these people can't even get along with each other. So we took people from all the colored areas who all want to hate and kill each other, and we brought them here and dropped them in Minnesota. And we think this is going to end well.
And I love, Jason, the irony here. What if it takes enough Somalis from a different clan to be the reason Ilhan Omar is no longer in Congress? Not because Americans woke up to the insanity, the biggest ingrate on the planet, but it was her own Somali brothers and sisters. They're always campaigning like, I love Somalia, I represent Somalia. And then the irony, of course, is that her own Somali brothers and sisters are going to be the one that vote her out here.
Yeah, it's just, it blows me away that people don't understand it. And I got to find my so just some stats on Somalia too. I love sharing these because I did the deep dive in Somalia as we're being invaded. I thought this was an interesting angle too that I had never considered, but different Somali tribes hated Fatih enough to lose. But so in Somalia, this country, regardless of the color, 99% are Sunni Muslims. It is the number 2 worst country in the world for Christians, behind North Korea. So there are less than 1,000 Christians in Somalia out of a population of 17 million because they kill them. Okay, there's a 40% literacy rate. Only 10% speak English. 70% have no formal education. 30 to 50% of their marriages are cousin marriages. This is their culture. Cousin marriages are first or second cousins. In your culture, you can marry your cousins. So we take these people that have no Western beliefs. They are Muslim, so much so they hate Christians. Christians aren't even allowed in their country. And these clans hate each other. And we drop them in Minnesota, and we think it's going to turn out okay. They're draining your resources in your schools. They're draining your resources in EBT, in food stamps. This is the future the Democrats want. You know why? Because they're going to religiously vote for Democrats. You are not going to get a Republican vote out of any of that population.
No, absolutely not, Jason. I did a little thought experiment. So we've been covering the story of Dearborn. So Dearborn, Michigan, now taken over by the Muslim communities for various Middle Eastern countries. They have city council members. They have a Muslim mayor now. And they had white residents saying like, hey, maybe we shouldn't rename the street after a terrorist or a man affiliated with terrorism. And the mayor was just like, screw you, get out. If you don't like it, you can leave. So I was just posing the question, Jason, like, imagine in reverse. What if you and I wanted to immigrate to Saudi Arabia? And we said, listen, kings and princes and sultans and emirs, we would like a space. We'd like to invite all of our white Christians with us. Give us a town, please. We will now get political power. And, you know, when you guys come and complain to us about this being too Christian and there are no more calls to prayer, deal with it. Go live somewhere else, Muslims. And I'm just trying to imagine, like, in what reality would the Saudi Arabians just stand by and be like, diversity is our strength? I'm so glad we brought in these white Christians to change the city of Mecca for us. And it's just like, you wouldn't even, that's absurd. Saying it out loud is absurd. And somehow in America, it's okay to be like, come on in, Muslims, go to Dearborn, go to these other communities, go ruin St. Cloud, and just take over our country here. Like, how do you people not see this if you're voting Democrat? Like, this is a one-way street and it's insane.
You know, and it's funny because we're going to get to Sydney Sweeney. Should we play some of the supporters of Zohan Mundami?
Here, let's, yeah, here's
this
a piece
them.
of what's
One was
voting.
a staffer, and then one was one of the people that helped run his campaign. So this is exactly what Todd's talking about.
Caliphate in New York starts now. That means we are all converting to Islam. I've already got one friend converted tonight. So the lines to begin conversion will begin tomorrow morning, bright and early, 8 a.m. There will be mosques being built on every single block. But in the meantime, start outside my door. I am happy to help you convert, happy to be there on your journey. If you'd rather do it with somebody else, totally understand. You have to be safe, you have to be comfortable. But I'm so glad to have you, my brothers, my sisters, my siblings, on this journey. All right.
Why did we give women the right to vote? I'm sorry. So this crazy liberal woman who is white, She was a Madami supporter. She worked on the campaign, and she talks about instituting the caliphate in New York City. For those who don't know, Muslim beliefs. Now, Muslims are like Christians in that there's all kinds of different sects and different beliefs. So they got their equivalent of Protestants, Lutherans, all that. But Muslim is not just a religion, it is a form of governance. They say you take the Quran, which is their Bible, their version of the Bible, and you take the rules of the Quran, you install that into government, and that's how you govern. So when you hear Muslim, that is not just a religion like we view Christianity, and some of those beliefs translate into our governance. It is, here's the Quran, here's how we interpret it, this is how we're going to run. A caliphate is when they establish an Islamic, Muslim, Quran run legality or city or state or that kind of thing. And in the Quran, Mark's on fire today, like MVP commenter so far. Eventually, the ones with all the pride flags need to research what the Muslims do to the pride flag people. Yes, folks, it turns out in the Quran, like they have founding principles like the Bible. One of them is how do we procreate aggressively, which if you ever see Muslims, they average a birth rate of about 4 per person, where in America it's like 1 to 2. And their entire belief system is built on we need to make more Muslims to go spread the word of Muhammad. And so that's why women tend to be stay home. Women are often viewed as properties. Men can have multiple wives because strong men need to seed the women to spread that. So this liberal woman who fell for the sly grin of Mundami has no idea what she's getting into.
No idea what is coming. And Jason, it is fascinating. I guarantee that this woman here would be like, Christianity, I can't believe you guys believe in some sky god or something like that, some dude in the sky that made everything. I guarantee she would rag on Christians, rag on Christianity. She'd call you stupid for believing in that stuff. And then she turns around and she's like, yeah, this caliphate is great. Islam is awesome. It's like, do you hear yourself? Yeah, it's a religion. I was just told that religion is bad by you. But these people, they can, again, we always talk about how they can never connect the dots here. That's my premise here. I think she would hate Christianity. I'm not going to be told what to do by some sky god, some man in the cloud. And then it's like, but the Quran shares a lot of the same beliefs. She has no idea.
Right. And I got to say, hopping back to Linda. Linda's on fire too on the Facebook. Girls marrying cousins and her second cousins. Wouldn't that be more like possibly passing on any gene defects? I'm wondering, goofy, crazy woman. And somebody else said in there where they're, Mark again with the inbred Hicks. Yeah. So the Somali thing, like you see the image of the Somali pirate, or you see the image of the, like many Somalis, see the big forehead, the big, like this is Omar Fatit, see kind of the skinny chin, big forehead. And you kind of think like, okay, I don't want to sound bad, but like, if you remember those pictures of like the inbred hillbillies where like they were alone in the woods of Appalachia and they were just, doing whatever they do. And then you kind of think to yourself like, oh, I see these in the Somali communities. And I'm like, God, they kind of look the same. So I went down the rabbit hole. I wish I wouldn't have. And yes, in their version of Islam, Muslim beliefs, first and second cousin marriages is actually quite common. So you don't get a very diverse gene pool. So when you recognize the physical characteristics, you are seeing what really happened.
Yeah, and I want to say this, Jason, because we just had some ultra-feminist, progressive white woman celebrating Islam in America and the establishment of a caliphate in New York City here. And you might think to yourself, this seems like an odd dichotomy. Mark made the comment here about the pride flag folks supporting Islam and what Islam does to the pride flag folks. And you think none of these groups have anything in common except one thing. And that's the thing that unites all these radical leftists. It's their hatred of America. It's their hatred of American ideals, values, Christianity. I think race plays a big role. They hate white people. That is a self-loathing white woman right there. They are all united by hatred. That is it. At the end of the day, the coalition of the hateful, the spiteful mutants. They have nothing in common. That woman would lose every ounce of freedom. She thinks Trump's the bad guy. Wait until Islam takes hold in America here. Then she'll really know what loss of freedom looks like. But right now, motivated by hatred, and that's good enough for her.
Yeah, I got to say, and you show up and you go, she's out there. Oh my God, I can't believe they'd want to teach the 10 commandments. Go Islam. Wait till they slam her in a burqa, tell her she can't vote and she's property of her husband. I don't even understand. I don't understand the logic.
I'm going to say this. Oh, go for it.
I was going to say, does she not have the internet? Can you not do a Google search?
Yeah, I'm saying this very cautiously, but in some aspects, Islam does have the sexes figured out. And I think traditional Christianity does as well, but we've moved so far away. But Islam's not wrong when it comes to the male-female dynamic in some cases. I'm just going to say that.
Well, I got to say, too, the other funny thing about Islam, if you start looking into it, and when the Taliban took back over in Afghanistan, I kind of went down the rabbit hole. So it's been a few years ago. And I was seeing interviews of people with the Taliban. And some of the women were like, well, it's kind of nice because they put us back in our roles. Because it turned out a lot of the Islam women liked being told what to do, didn't want to have to go work. They're like, no, our husbands are responsible for taking care of us. The other thing is they said, we really like crime went down. And the reporter goes, what are you talking about? Well, if they catch somebody shoplifting and they see them do it, they just cut off their hand. And so you do that a few times, nobody shoplifts. And if you're caught doing other things, rape, murder, assault, they just shoot you. They like, hey, did you do it? Let's take you out in the parking lot. This is over. So crime went down extremely fast. Can you imagine in America if they're like, we're going to institute some of this? Oh, you got caught robbing the CVS? Like right now, they don't even get a ticket. And in Muslim beliefs, they'd get their hand cut off. I don't know. I mean,
this is not an endorsement by any means of Islam here. Eradicate it in the United States. I'm just saying.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of fascinating to think about. Oh, should we play this clip now, Todd?
We do, but I want to get over to Trent over on the old Facebook there. Trent's wondering, what is there to break down? Blue cities, blue states voted blue. What is there to break down? Well, stay tuned, Trent. I mean, that is what Mike Johnson came out and said as well. He was downplaying Democrat victories on Tuesday. They won mayoral races. They won governor's offices here. Flipped Virginia from red to blue, nominally red. I mean, Youngkin's not a real America First politician anyways. He was basically a Democrat. What is there to break down? Jason and I have some thoughts still on it. I think that's a little bit of cope to just be like, Dems are doing Dems, because Mamdani is not a normal Democrat. Mikey Sherrill and Abigail Spanberger are not your normal Democrat anymore here. These are radical communists taking over here. Yeah, did Democrats vote for Democrat? Yeah, on paper, but what they represent, we are well far removed from 1990s Democrats politics.
Well, yeah, and we're not going to go deep into some of the race. We're going to talk a lot about New York. We'll touch on a couple of the other ones, but at a high level, New Jersey, like he got rolled. I thought that one would be close.
Thought it'd be closer, Jason.
Yeah, and because the lady he was running against is a former CIA operative that's now a Democrat. I mean, bad. Virginia, to me, was horrifying because, the Republicans, this is a concept I think that's worth stating. The Republican Party is dead. The party of George Bush, of Mitt Romney, of John McCain is dead. They still have a lot of those politicians in the Republican Party. The only path forward for the Republican Party is America First, MAGA coalition. Like that is the only, like the Bushies, the Romneys, the McCains, those folks didn't do anything to protect the right and conservatives, and that's why we're in this place. And further on the right, like that's what you're going to get. Pat Buchanan was right. We should have voted for Pat Buchanan. The Bushies wouldn't have gone for it. And if we don't get an America First candidate who is going to stand up, crush the socialists, crush Antifa, in the chat, the Rumble chat, one of our favorite things is like, when are the perp walks? I love breaking out my copy of Government Gangsters, Cash Patel. I got the autograph copy, and like, they're not arresting Antifa yet. I mean, they're getting a few. They're breaking up some child sex rings. That stuff's good. Man, we need Adam Schiff locked up. We need, Mundami. We need big things, because if we don't, things are going to get very dark for us.
Yeah, and by big, I mean denaturalize people like Ilhan Omar and Zoran Mamdani and send them to their beloved Uganda and Somalia that they profess so much affection for all the time, Jason. It's really that simple. I want Trump to hit home runs here. I want him to go nuclear on this. Arresting someone that flees into a daycare center, they need to push back on that narrative, but I want them to arrest everybody regardless of where they are too. I want them to just be like, you know what? Yeah, we did have to arrest this lady in the daycare. She ran in there, but you know what? If you're an illegal daycare worker, we're coming after you too, because there will be zero illegals left in this country by the time we are leaving the White House. And Jason, I'm a little black-pilled. We're not going to arrest Schiff. We're not going to deport everybody. It's a tough day here. And as we are weak, Democrats come to power. That's part of the takeaway here. We haven't reinforced the America First message enough, and allows Democrats to control the narrative. They actually said that they ran on the economy of all things. Democrat voters rejected the Trump economy. Prices are still too high. It's like, where were you for 4 years? Where were you in the 22 midterms? Where were you voting for Kamala Harris? You didn't care about the Biden economy then. Like, this is just lies. And if people actually believe the Trump economy is not working for them, then they're just stupid. Like, yeah, it's hard, but that's not a reason to vote against Trump, because did you see how the economy was under Democrats and you still voted for them? I'm not buying.
And I think, you know, like I said, I love how you broke it down where you said, you know, it's easy to say, and they're trying to say, oh, blue areas voted blue. You saw radical transformations. You saw the voting block move in just terrifying ways that they're just like, they see the video we started with and think ICE is evil. And, you know, the illegal who flees into a daycare is the hero. The other thing I want to touch on is what Sanj Grab says over on the Facebook. If there are gullible people to believe in a non-born citizen to be allowed to hold any part of government, they get what they deserve. Here's the reality of that, because part of me is like, let New York vote for New York stuff. Let them destroy New York. Maybe they'll learn. The problem is we have moved further and further to left, further and further to socialism in my lifetime. I'm 51. And as things continue to deteriorate, the answer on the left is we didn't go left far enough. It is not this path we're going down is bad. It is not maybe we shouldn't do this. Maybe we should get back to how things were when they were better. Their answer is always we need to go more left. We didn't communism hard enough. And that's the danger. And we're seeing it play out in Minnesota. We're seeing it play out in New York. When this fails, the reason it failed is because we didn't socialist hard enough. We didn't communist hard enough. Colorado, who's been one of the leading people in this whole wealth distribution, they started 10, 15 years ago. Like, we're going after the millionaires, because back then Bernie wasn't a millionaire, so we could say millionaires. Now they're down to people making $300,000 a year. Couples. So individuals making $150,000 a year. And you know what? In 5, 10 more years, as that continues to accelerate, they're down to people making 100. And they're down to people, you know, it just keeps going on. They're going to double down. And this time, to get communism right, we need to communist harder.
Yeah, and that's what scares me, Jason. I'm with you. Let New York burn to the ground. If New York had walls all around it, I would say fine. Let the people starve and kill each other off in there. But that's not how it works. They look at Mamdani as a winning formula now, and that Mamdani playbook gets spread across the country, and those ideas are what get normalized in the Democrat Party nowadays. So you've got people like Manchin and Sinema that prevented them from ending the filibuster not that long ago in the Senate. They're gone. You've got Pelosi retiring, and say what you will about Pelosi, but she and Biden were the old guard of the Democrat Party. They're the dying vestiges of that old Democrat Party, just like we are seeing the George Bush and, you know, the Mitt Romney wing of the Republicans die out. And what's replacing them is not more moderate or common sense. It is just gay race communists with an absolute hatred of you and your values and your country and your history. This is not to be celebrated whatsoever. So again, on an island with walls, let New York do New York. But it's a barometer for where we are in politics, and it's not going to swing back. Like Jason said, it's only going further left. In 5 years, Mamdani is going to look tame by comparison.
Right. All right. Should we play this clip, Todd?
I know. We promised all these clips here, and you and I had so much to talk about today.
Hands off Chicago! Hands off Chicago!
A large crowd formed this evening in Chicago's North Center neighborhood over an immigration raid at a daycare.
We had masked ICE agents following a daycare educator into the daycare where there were parents, there were children.
People being dragged out of their workplace. This is not political. It is not right. We will not stand for it. No ICE, no ICE, no ICE.
Hundreds of people were there protesting the federal agents' actions and the Trump administration's immigration crackdown.
This is the Trump administration going after the worst of the worst. A daycare teacher taken away.
This video shows the teacher being taken out of Barrio del Sol daycare this morning near Addison and Western. According to the Department of Homeland Security, the woman who was arrested has been in the country illegally since 2023. The agency says federal agents attempted to stop her vehicle this morning, but she refused to pull over and ran into the daycare. Witnesses say the agents went inside of the building and dragged her out.
She's telling them, I have papers. I have documentation.
Several families who saw the ordeal called the situation traumatizing. Many of those families took to the podium this evening to voice their frustrations.
Imagine taking your child to a daycare where they are now at risk of their teachers leaving them in the class because they have been detained for being brown, for speaking Spanish.
I am so disgusted to call my family in other areas of the country and hear the narrative being shared that they are not targeting schools, that they are not targeting children. We know that's a lie.
Why did the election on Tuesday happen? Because of this nonsense, these liars. And even think of the points they're making if they were true. She talks about like they're targeting Spanish speaking people. So you're saying you're okay with somebody being in America not needing to learn English? How is this even controversial? Like, if you're traveling to America, you should learn how to speak English. You should not expect us to change our culture. All these people want this woman who's there illegally. Why is she teaching in a daycare? What daycare is able to hire an illegal? And then you get, oh my God, that woman here. Let me click back on the video of this screaming liberal woman just crying, because at what point are you going to say, yeah, you know what? She fled into the daycare. Probably that was bad. No, they don't care. They're lying. And that whole crowd, like, those weren't the propagandists. Those were the victims of the propaganda. And this is playing out in New York, in New Jersey, in Maryland. It's playing out in all these states where all these folks are thinking this is true.
Yeah, and this is the optical problem for the Trump administration. We said this would happen, Jason, before Trump was even inaugurated. Deportations are going to be messy. They're going to be ugly. They are going to be weaponized against us for wanting these people gone. Short of self-deportation, yeah, it's going to get hands-on and physical, because I'm going to have to now move you from wherever you are illegally into the back of this vehicle or onto a plane. Since you chose to break the law and are choosing not to leave on your own, now I got to go hands-on here. So is it a good look? Absolutely not. But yeah, this is what deportation looks like. You know what's also not a good look? Wide open borders, 20 million people pouring into the country under Joe Biden, trafficking drugs, trafficking people, letting all these illegals steal from you, steal your jobs, receive welfare off of you. That's really ugly. But then they zoom in on this one thing, and they can't even get the narrative right. I don't even think they're lying. I think they're just stupid in this case. They don't care to know the facts. They ignore the fact about the car, fleeing from police, running into the building here, taking shelter in the building. They honestly don't care. They are too stupid to know. They say illegal, Trump, and that's it. That's all these people operate on now.
Yeah. I got to say, too, I can't pull up the comment, but it's over on the side. Barry Ramey over on the Facebook. Hey, Barry, we broadcast on Rumble. And the reason we do an hour on Facebook and the YouTube and all the stuff. We do the last hour, or we say a half hour, but it usually goes about 45 minutes. We do it on Rumble. Rumble is the free speech platform. It's like YouTube, only they let you have free speech. Love your comment. Would love to read it here. But you really need to go over to the Rumble. We got a great Rumble community over there. I know it's downloading a new app, and you got to set up a login. Shoot Fally, who watches the show. She kept getting kicked out of her account. And but yeah, some of those things you talked about, we discuss more of that on the Rumble, because we can't talk about it on the Facebook or the YouTube. Hey, should we show more New York clips, Todd?
Begrudgingly, yes, Jason.
The name is Mamdani, M-A-M-D-A-N-I. The name is Mamdani, M-A-M-D-A-N-I. You should learn.
Sharia law starts now. Absolutely. Zahran Mamdani, Islamic Caliphate, our brother in Islam,
Elevate of New York starts today, baby!
God, there is just something so electric, so satisfying about knowing that my MAGA parents, wherever they are probably having a horrible night tonight. Oh, I literally just got goosebumps thinking about it. Like they are in such a bad mood probably about the fact that Zoran just won and Prop 50 is gonna pass. Like, wow. God, I'm sorry. It just makes me feel good that my MAGA parents are probably upset right now.
When the day starts with Dick Cheney being dead and ends with Mamdani winning. Oh, yes. Oh.
Now, Freedom from the Press is no fan of Dick Cheney, one of the most awful human beings to ever hold power in Washington, D.C. That being said, Jason, isn't it fascinating how Charlie Kirk, let's celebrate his death. Dick Cheney, he had an R behind his name, let's celebrate his death. And how quickly we moved on from Dick Cheney endorsing Kamala Harris and Liz Cheney being a darling of the establishment for going after Donald Trump with impeachment. But he was a Republican. He's dead, and so I'm happy about that. There is a theme, folks. There is a theme. You are on the outs. You are a MAGA. You're a Republican. Even a Dick Cheney, who is no America First Republican. He's dead, so I'm happy about that. Like, absolutely sick.
And I got to say, and I got to ask the chat this. I think our chat probably understands a little bit conceptually about Sharia law and about Muslims, that kind of thing. How do you think a white liberal woman fits into that ideology? Todd, what do you think?
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say they're going to be one of the first ones to not like Sharia law.
Right? Yeah, I'm going to say this liberal woman, do you think she's going to really like settling into socialist Sharia law? Now, she might like the socialism because I guarantee she probably works as the HR rep, teaching diversity at her company. So she really doesn't contribute anything to the company. She doesn't make anybody any money. She doesn't make anybody anything else. But she loves that her salary will be artificially inflated by the people that actually produce. This is crazy. These women, and that second to last one, that one sitting there talking about her MAGA parents. Her parents, I bet, were good parents. I bet her parents loved her. They probably paid for her schooling. She had food and shelter and education and love. And she has grown up to be such a spiteful mutant that she wants to cause her parents pain. She doesn't even care that, like Charlie Kirk, she probably celebrated him, and her parents. She is delighted. She is ecstatic that it caused them pain. So this communist socialist ideology has poisoned this poor woman enough that she is delighted that her parents felt pain.
Yeah, and it never crosses her mind. I think they call it cluster B thinking or first Soul call it first order thinking, whatever the case may be. This woman is so wrapped up in her own self here, so egocentric, never even dawns on her to be like, I should ask my parents why they are MAGA. Well, gosh, parents, why do you support Donald Trump? What policies does he offer? Like, they have no concept of reflection or asking questions or seeking to understand other ideas here. Just so thoroughly brainwashed, purely emoting, purely on emotions here. And Jason, I say this also a little bit sardonically, but watching these young white liberal feminists supporting Sharia law almost makes me want to see Sharia law happen. I almost want to see it happen just to shut these yaps up.
Yeah, at some point, like, we should organize a GoFundMe that we round up all the liberal women. You know, you can identify them with the nose ring and then say, like, let's just send you over to one of these Sharia law countries. We'll just send you over there. We'll give you a debit card. And then we're gonna film it. We're gonna stream it on the YouTube. We'll see how it goes. We could probably make $1 million. I bet people would tune in every week to some liberal, neo-divergent person and her Muslim hundred saying, put on the burqa. And she's like, what are you talking about? No, go make me dinner. What do you mean? I'm in a, we're going to start having babies. You need to put out 4. What? You're like, what are you talking about?
We could start a reality TV show, Jason, young white lib over in the Middle East. And we're going to film all of it and watch her smile fade away over time as she watches hubby go out with another woman who has another one of his kids and how she is stuck in the house all day. I would tune in to watch that.
That would be pretty good. Well, now we're up on an hour. Democrats didn't win. Democrats, Socialists of America won. Excellent point, Mark.
Yeah,
And that
we've been stressing that too. It's not Democrats. It's a new kind of Democrat here. The socialists are in control of the party.
Well, should we wrap up Facebook, YouTube, and get over to Rumble and get a little spicier?
I think we should, Jason. We got a lot to talk about here. I'm going to let you set it up, Jason.
Which clip do you want to set up on the way out?
Well, should we do Sunny on the way out?
Let's do Sunny on the way out. All right, folks. So here's what we're going to do. If you're on Facebook, YouTube, we love you guys. We appreciate you tuning in. We actually have pretty big audiences. We stream on a few Facebook pages. We get a couple hundred watching live on each of them. It's pretty awesome. We appreciate that. We're just two yahoos from Minnesota. Some of the stuff we talk about, though, gets a little spicy. And when it gets a little spicy, we got to do it on the Twitter. We got to do it on the Rumble. So we're gonna log out. We're gonna log out on a Sunny Hostin clip. And then we're going to pick back up on the Rumble side. And so Facebook, YouTube, we will see you next Friday. Please join us over on the Rumble. We got K-Gun Girl, Fally, Dee Dee, Francis, Mark. We got a great audience over there. And we're going to see you all on the Rumble on the other side.
But it taught us is that the Democratic Party is a big tent party. It's an inclusive party. We have a man who is the first Muslim mayor of New York City, who is a very, very important politician. I think he's a very special politician, and I think people want change. And so he may not be the face of the Democratic Party, but what is the face of the Democratic Party? There are many faces. There are women. There are centrists. There are independents. There are Muslims. There are immigrants. And so I think that is a huge takeaway. The other huge takeaway for me that I don't think enough people are talking about is what happened in California with Prop 50.
Yeah, we're coming to that.
Yeah,
we're coming to that.
That for me was a huge takeaway, because that is the roadmap for how Democrats become the opposition party. You meet energy with energy. When they go low, you go lower. I am sorry, but that is where we are now. We need that opposition, and I think we saw that last night.